this is one of them ones like, yo, we didn't even want to do you when we got like, we didn't want to interview you at first. We was like, I was like, nah. Kurt was like, we gotta have everything like crispy, clean, and make sure it's right for the goddess because we don't want to have stuff on this interview. This is an important one for the people.
Thank you. Well, it's always a pleasure to be here. I'm ready to jump into it. Let's get to it because we got problems, right?
Yep.
But
We also got solutions. You already know.
Welcome to the We Got Problems podcast with co-hosts Curtis G. Martin, Rhonda L. Brown, and Caliph Johnson Sr., the one and only podcast where solutions get discussed to our community's everyday troubles. Each week, you will hear mind-blowing conversations and actionable tips and strategies that you can implement in your daily life to become more effective. We got problems and we got solutions.
All right, you guys, welcome to the show. This is We Got Problems, and I'm here with my co-host, Rhonda L. Brown.
Hey, everybody.
My other co-host, Caliph Johnson Sr.
Peace. How y'all doing?
And I'm Curtis G. Martin, and we got a special guest here, one of the members of the Freedom Georgia Initiative, Ashley Scott. Ashley, tell the people a little bit about you and what you do.
Hey, peace, everybody. I am a real estate agent, and I am the co-founder and the chief marketing officer of the Freedom Georgia Initiative. So I have the pleasure of helping 19 of my friends and family to purchase first 96 acres of land, and then we turned right around and purchased an additional 404 acres of land. And now we've subdivided that 404 acres of land. We've 6 times our investment, and we are building a community as we speak. So we are really, really excited. We have sold our lots. We got literally 1 lot left to go in Freedom for sale, and we're really excited about it. And you know, my background, really where I come from, is a marketing background. I did press relations and public relations and digital marketing for a very long time for movies like Chirac. You probably remember that movie that Spike Lee did that everybody was not pleased with because of the hip opera of it all. But I did all the social media on that. So that's something that I'm really proud of. I have a background where putting your message, your story out, that's what I'm best at doing. And I think that had a lot to do with why Freedom Georgia Initiative has become such a household name in our community. So I'm really excited to be here and to talk with you all tonight.
So what's the plan for that land that you guys are subbing out, buying, and selling?
Yeah, so the main plan is to create a city. So like we have a long-term vision to build what's known as a municipal corporation, which is in the same spirit as our ancestors who built Black Wall Street, who built Rosewood, Florida, who built Seneca Village in New York that became Central Park when they took it and tore it down in eminent domain, those residents. There's a long history of Black Americans pioneering and starting their own safe spaces and communities where the Black dollar circulates. And so our vision is to create a community where we all are owners from the ground up and what we've built together, and what we determined for ourselves would be the best experience for our children, for our community, for our governance, for our environmental endeavors, right? Because we do believe that climate crisis is real. And so we wanted to have a project that would address all of those issues in a holistic way. And so that's what Freedom is about for us. We are building a cooperative community that is self-sufficient, that is sustainable in every way. And what we always tell people, that is pro-Black in every way, not to mean that other families of different diversity aren't welcome, but the primary point of what we're building in Freedom is to address the systemic oppression that affects our financial gap, right? So when you look at these daunting statistics that say by 2032, Black people will have a zero wealth, right? Well, the only way to combat something like that is through home ownership, through land ownership, and through business ownership. So we look at what we're building in Freedom as an integrated approach, right? This systematic process to buy the land, to farm the land because we have to have food, to build community, which is why we divided the lot so people could build their own houses. And then we have phase 1, which is coming, where we'll build our very first subdivision that will be owned and developed by Freedom Georgia Initiative, our LLC, our development company. So that idea of having a Black-owned community, we own the land, we own the houses, we own the infrastructure, we own the businesses and the commercial buildings that will eventually be resurrected. That is true Black economic power. And we want to be able to phase it out and do it in a way that honors ourselves, that engages the residents, engages the people who are faithful and committed to seeing this vision happen, right? And so it's not necessarily for everybody, because we would need 50 freedoms to be able to get 48 million Black people all in one place, right? We need to be able to have a replicatable model, something that we get it right, we figure it out, and then everybody can take that blueprint and run with it. And so that's what we're doing with Freedom, is this idea of like, what could our best community look like? And how do we put it on paper? How do we finance it? And then how do we give people the planned out out vision, the blueprint, so that they can run with it and duplicate it?
So is this area? I looked and saw that it was near Toomsboro, I think it is. Is it part of Toomsboro, or is it its own city? What is the geographics?
Yeah, so it's 8 minutes from downtown Toomsboro, Georgia. And so it is an unincorporated Wilkinson County. So what that means is it's not under the jurisdiction of the municipal corporation known as the city of Toomsboro, right? It's currently under the county's management, and we've purchased this land. And so as private land owners, we only have to deal with and work with the county right now. So we still want and have anticipation of working with the city of Toomsboro. The mayor there is Joyce Denson. She's an amazing young woman who is very passionate about bringing economic development and opportunities to Toomsboro. But this land itself is straight up raw land, you guys. Like, it is just trees next to this river called the Oconee River, and it's full of animals and life, and a lot of lumber farming is what has been happening in this area, and hunting has been what's happening, and farming. So it's known as agricultural, recreational, and residential unincorporated land. So the possibilities are endless. And one day our goal is to become the city of freedom, so that we have our own municipal corporation and our own jurisdiction, where we put our own mayor in, our own city council, and we write the ordinances, the laws, and we task whatever municipal services that we have. We will be in charge of deploying those services, writing how those things are processed, the regulations, the requirements. We get to do all of that from the ground up in this case.
Okay, you said, go ahead, Rhonda. I have questions. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, so you said you have lots. Do you have like a vetting process of, that people have to go through? Because I'm sure you want people that have the same vision and want the same things. You don't want somebody to come in there and just ruin it. So do you have a vetting process?
Yeah, so what I will say is this: we have been, like, we didn't even tell people that the lots were for sale. Like, the only people who had the opportunity were in our circle, people who are members of the Black Achievement Fund, which is our strategic partner. They're a 501c3, a national nonprofit that I sit on the board for. So people who were members of the Black Achievement Fund, they had the first dibs, right? They had the first opportunities to be able to purchase lots in freedom. And that's one of our commitments, because we are strategically partnered with the Black Achievement Fund, BAF.Solutions. Go check them out. We wanted to make sure that they got the opportunity. So we vetted in that way, because we meet literally, we have this thing called the Black Achievement Fund Village, where we're on the Zoom every day and we get to know each other. We have BAF Toastmasters. So we got to hear people speaking, and we learned about, people made introductions. So I'm really excited, because the vetting process isn't like, and even though people did have to fill like an application out, it's not really about that as much as it was about getting into a camaraderie. And then people that felt like, yo, this is something that I'm really interested in being a part of. They came when they found out that we had the lots for sale. I didn't have to do anything but say, hey, BAF, we've got the lots for sale. And the people who were most interested, we already knew who they were. They were people who we were already connected to, had the experience of being able to say, you know what, this is a good person. Then they came and they toured the land. We had events all the time. Our vetting process is about getting into the energy and getting to know one another. Because at the end of the day, people will tell you what they want you to know, right? They're going to tell you what they think you want to hear. But there's nothing like having experiences where you're building camaraderie, where you're out there. We have camping events. We go and tour in the woods. There's nothing like seeing somebody go crazy when the bugs get like, you know, that experience. That's how you know if they're going to be down, like really, really down. And that's what we want the people who will be really, really down. And I think that's exactly what we have. And it's still opportunity. Like I said, I got one lot left. So there is a vetting process. If you come today and you're like, hey, I want that last lot, and we don't know who you are, we're going to want to get to know you. We're going to say, hey, let's have some interviews, some conversations. Let me understand what your finances are like. What is your vision? What's your goals? Tour them around the land and get to see what their health is like, because that walking around that land, if you ain't in health, you're going to know, because you're going to be breathing real hard. Little things. And like, not to say that, you know, you can't come if you're in bad health. That's not really what we're trying to do. But it is, there's always a sense of like getting to know people on a deeper, more spiritual level. That's really important to us.
Okay. I had a question. So like I was I was in love with like watching your showing up every day in December. Like I fell in love with your lives. Those are like super dope.
Thank you. I'm sorry I had to give up towards the end because it was the holidays. I'm out here mothering, wifing, realtoring, business moguling. I'm like, I gotta get me a Christmas sell up for my course, like all the kind of stuff you gotta do. It's just a lot out here in these streets. Trying to go live every day. It was a lot of work. I'm not even gonna hold nobody.
Showing up for business. My question is, how did this start? How did it all start? Like, what was the beginning process that really said, yo, we making this move and this is what the play is going to be? To start a whole city, like to really have a vision to start a whole city. Like you said, you came from you had your real estate thing, you had the online advertising, you had everything going on in your life like prior to this. But like what was the trigger, that aha moment where you saying, okay, this is the play, we're gonna do it? What started it all?
The thing that started it all was when Renee, my business partner and my best friend, she called me up and she was like, yo, I've been depressed. And then I'm like, girl, me too. After witnessing George Floyd get murdered, Ahmaud Arbery be murdered, Breonna Taylor, it was just like so much back-to-back injustice that impacted our community, right? And it was thinking like, okay, how do we actually fix systemic racism? How do you fix systemic racism? How, right? And so that was the impetus for it, because when I think about what is the power base of how we're even able to see systemic oppression through police brutality, like police brutality as a whole just cultural iconoclast, right? It's based in the law. And then when you look at, well, who makes the laws, right? Well, actually, it's everyday people. It's the people in our city council seats. It's the people in our commissioner seats. It's the people in our department heads, people who vote, who actually get up and punch the ticket and say, I'm voting for this sheriff or I'm voting for this chief of police. The onus falls on us, whether we admit it to ourselves or not. It's a lot like the law of attraction, right? It's like whatever you are getting, it's because you're putting it out there, right? And if you're not engaged, which we haven't done, we when we look back, since Martin Luther King was assassinated, Malcolm X assassinated, all of our leaders, Bobby Seale assassinated. You have all these people who get assassinated. You get a little apathetic to the point where you like, there's nothing I can do. They have really proliferated so through and through this fear of I can't make a difference. But that's a lie. Like when we really, really look deeply at it, we can see how quickly things can change when we activate our community power. And so when Renee said, the city of Toomsboro is for sale, it was an aha moment. Because I had watched the city of Stonecrest become a city over the last 2 years, right? It was just a committee, an exploratory committee. It was one person, Mr. Jason Larry, who unfortunately national news is out here showing that he didn't do everything the way he should have done it. But he did have a vision to start a city where now we've already installed 3 Black judges. We're already starting to put Black police heads in place. They're interviewing people for our own police department. So obviously you don't want to do things exactly the way these Europeans have done it to oppress us, but we can take this system and we can use it to our own advantage so we can have jurisdiction over our own lives. And so that's where it came from, was this idea of like, if we are going to truly impact our world and change systemic racism, we have to do it within the system, and we got to do it as early on in the system as we possibly can. What earlier than in the creation of a city can you impact what your city's culture will be like, right?
Facts, big facts.
And so that's where it came from. It came from this idea of how do we fix racism? How do we fix police brutality? Well, you can't. You have to. There's I'm going to screw it up, but there's a quote that says that if you want to break a model, the only way to do so is by inventing something new. And so that's what freedom really is about for us, is inventing something new, something that hasn't been done before, at least in this current generation, where it's like, we're building a city from the ground up, and I bet you we're going to make Wakanda.
Hey, so you mentioned building a thriving city. So how do you guys go about, or what's the plan for building a thriving city where businesses can come and there's jobs? You talked about farming, where you can get a good mixture of almost city and country, so to speak.
Yeah. So again, you couldn't do all of that on 96 acres. And we still can't do all of that on the 502 acres. So the plan is to acquire more land. And our goal is to launch a land trust so we can acquire about another 710 acres that will connect the 404 that we currently have to the 96 that we bought first. And so when we have that 710 plus the 502, that's going to give us a contiguous 1,300 acres of land. And now we playing ball, because we can put, a crowdfunded campaign on Buy the Block for a real estate investment trust. And now we can crowdfund and get the money that we need to do the preliminary work, right? Because any development, you've got to clear the land, you've got to put in plumbing, you've got to put in streets, you've got to put in utility access. And then you have to fund and finance these actual commercial spaces, these actual homes that people are going to move into. And so it has many, many moving parts, but it starts first with that land trust, then that real estate investment trust, and the people investing in those trusts, so that we can not just get the land, but begin to put the infrastructure and the buildings in place. And then you do private-public partnerships. So it's not just about, we're going to crowdfund this, or we're going to have a couple of big investors, but you have the actual county of Wilkinson County says, hey, we believe in this vision. And they are super sold out. They're like, let's do this. Let's make this happen, right? Because obviously a county where most rural counties are experiencing depopulation, people are leaving. But with our incentives and our project, we'll be able to attract new jobs, attract more residents, more density. And in doing so, the county's like, we're going to make more tax revenues. Well, it's only right that you, as a county who is publicly partnering with me, you come up with some money for me so that I can make this happen, whether it be through tax rebates, tax incentives, even, certain states like Texas, they have gap deals where, like, if you decide to come here and bring your project here, we'll give you an extra grant so that we can close this deal and make sure that you come to my county, to my state, to my city. So accessing those types of funds are a big part of what we want to do. And then relationships, again, private-public partnerships. The Greater Georgia Black Chamber of Commerce is one of our partners. And so to attract those Black manufacturing, Black farmers, those partnerships play a big role in that. And so there's things like revenue bonds that the county can actually draw up and put onto the Chicago Stock Exchange so that people can buy these revenue bonds, and then those fundings come so that we can build the project up. And then over the next, 5 to 10 years, you start seeing the landscape of Wilkinson County and Freedom, Georgia change. And we will attract jobs because of the partnerships, right? So corporations like Rivian just came to Georgia. One of the things that I asked, and for those of you who don't know what Rivian is, they're an electric car company, right? Well, we're not necessarily interested in having Rivian and their company come to Freedom, but what we are interested in is having a supplier diversity initiative with Rivian that they will commit to to buying parts or buying fabric for what goes into their solar car, right? So if you've got a relationship with a company like that, that's like, yo, we're committed to minority suppliers and minority supplier development. We're going to make sure that we're going to give you 30% of our business to make sure that minorities are getting a piece of this action since we've moved to Georgia, right? Well, then we say, well, Freedom, Georgia, we're going to go ahead. We're going to build a textile manufacturing plant and a small parts plant in Freedom, and that'll create jobs. And we already have a contract with Rivian saying that they're going to buy the parts. So it's a win-win, because now the people in the land trust who bought the land are going to sell the land or do a ground lease to the real estate investment trust. The real estate investment trust is going to make dividends by building that property, that commercial manufacturing plant, and then the actual company, whoever gets the good sense and genius to put together a manufacturing fabric company, says, I'm going to rent that commercial space from you over the next 30 years because I know that there's a contract for me with Rivian to make their car seats and their parts to the dash council, right? And so because of that, I know we're going to get dividends in our real estate investment trust from this company that we just built this manufacturing plant for. The manufacturing plant's going to move in and create jobs, and then they are going to make money from Rivian because they've got that minority supplier diversity initiative to make sure that 30% is coming to that plant, right? So that's how you build economic power. That's what this whole point is. Let's go ahead and start with the land. Let's put together the real estate investment trust. Let's build those commercial spaces that we know we have need of. We know solar is going to be a big play. We know we need more food and more meat. So we need food processing. We need meat processing, right? There's a 3-year backlog on beef processing right now. So if we fund these types of buildings as a real estate investment trust, and we have people who can actually come in and they can have those jobs and they can run those businesses, we have our own economy. We have an economic power base. So that's what the big vision is. And when we get everybody to buy in, everybody wins, because instead of just supplying parts to Rivian, now we can supply our own parts to our own electric vehicle. Now we can have somebody like TJ Lofton, who is the king of car manufacturing, put together his electric car. So we have a Black-owned electric car company based in Freedom, right? That's what the vision is. Like, how do we attract the best and brightest of Black America, give them a home base, give them the resources, the money, the business plan so that they can succeed. We've got the university, Fort Valley State University is here in Georgia. They will give us the specs to build our meat processing plant for free, right? So there's no barriers other than us coming together and cooperating collectively. But we do have to have a place and a space to do that, because I think for so long we're all over the place. We've always been in silos, as some of us will say, where it's like somebody wants something over here, somebody's got a business over there, and nobody's really communicating and teaching each other how to work together, where we can all say, no more. We're going to come together, we're going to collaborate, we're going to cooperate, and we're going to build a community that has everything we need together. And we do. We got the money, we've got the funding. We just need people to like sign on and say yes. And it's really not something that I don't think, like, it's not far-fetched. As fast as we can put these entities together, I think we can have people investing in it and seeing all of this stuff come to fruition, because we've got platforms like Buy the Block, right? Chris Cynical's getting great things in Houston, and he used Buy the Block to do it. So like, we've got so much Black talent. And so that's the goal, is to like, let's get us all together. And we're doing it. Like, just give us time is what I tell people, because it's happening, and it'll happen, in God's divine timing, because sometimes it feels like it's happening fast, and sometimes it feels like it's happening slow. But believe me, it's all happening.
So you have all this land. Are you leaving, like, because you said it's untouched, like no plumbing, no anything. Well, this is actually a two-part question, because I want to know about like the electricity. Are you doing solar power and stuff?
Yeah.
And then do you have a set aside amount of land that you are going to leave untouched?
Yes.
As well as some that you're going to have like farmland, like growing,
Yes. So there's a master plan that's in development. A lot of those plans won't come into effect until they finish what's known as the civil engineering surveys. So now they've got to go. It's a lot of land. So we've got to go and kind of do these topography surveys that'll tell us, okay, what can we use? What's usable land? What can we build on? What can we grow food on? And what can we grow lumber on? And what can we use as based on the soil for water runoff? So they've got to study all of that land. And then we're going to let the experts make the distinction as to, where things go and how to best build what, where. But the goal for us is to conserve at least 2/3 of the land, because we want to be able to grow fruit trees. We want the land to be preserved for carbon, because we like, if we cut all the trees down, how are we going to have quality air, right? Like, there's just so many benefits to maintaining our forest. And so that's our plan, is to conserve at least 2/3 of it. There's creeks, there's a plethora of wildlife, and we just want to live in harmony. And so our goal is to be really an eco village, in the sense that build, as small and as close and as community as you can, so that one, it really helps with the idea of community, when you're not necessarily, we do have 6-acre plots right now, but the intention of the 6-acre plots is that in those 6-acre plots, there'll be family members, right? So like mom, dad, sister, brother, they build their houses on the 6-acre plots. And now the family is actually close to one another, right? Like, you don't have to be like, oh, I don't know, I can't see mama, she on the other side of town. No, she's right next to you. Go see your mama. That's the kind of communities that we're hoping to create. And so we will really conserve as much of the land as we can. And there will be designated spaces for, like, we already have ATV trails, we've got Jeep trails, we plan on putting in zip lines, we will be farming, people are going to be farming vertical farming, greenhouses, there'll be orchards, walnuts, and we've been talking about pecans and all the different kinds of nuts and all kinds of different, agricultural just forests, because we want it to be a thriving food community. Like, a food sovereignty is a big piece of that. And so we want to conserve the land, because you can't grow food on concrete.
Right.
Okay, now I know you do fruit in Georgia. I know what you do on that side of it. Let's talk a little bit more about Ashley, like some of the things you did, some of the things that you do, because we were fortunate enough to have one of your pupils on, and I purposely made sure that we didn't go too far into that side of it. We focused on something totally different. I don't know if you saw I met this
I
interview.
didn't get to see it yet. I've been meaning to, but I've been busy writing contracts and selling land.
So tell us a little bit more about what you actually do, because you were able to reproduce yourself without, like, how did that come about where you were able to teach someone else exactly what you do?
Well, two things. I have a VIP accountability coaching program. And so I have not just the seminars that I teach. So when I first did this whole situation with my friends and family, I did some seminars on Zoom where I
Mm-hmm.
taught people how to replicate it. Like I just get, and they're so raw, it's ridiculously raw, y'all. But I just got online on the Zoom and I just told them everything we did. I showed them the PowerPoint presentation. I told them how much we paid, gave them everything, right? And I did it 4 times. And then each time I did the Zoom, it was a little different flavor because, people ask different questions and people are like, well, what about this? And I got land here. And so these Zooms that I was having, they were just really packed with information, packed with just good ideas, just insight and enlightenment. Just they were good stuff, right? And probably too raw, too real. But I put it on, I put it up for sale. And Mecca, she was one of the people who did one of the first seminars with us. We did them back in September of 2020. And so she took that seminar. She was a part of my coaching program. She would call me up and she'd ask any questions she had. And I walked her through. I took her on a couple of tours because, I'm a realtor. So I showed her some land here in Georgia. And then she eventually found a piece of land that was perfect for her and her 7 children. They started a trust and they purchased this land using the principles and the inspiration of what we did as 19 friends and family to buy our 96 acres. And she bought 75 acres. And now she has a youth program that she is doing on her land, and she's building a compound for her and her family, so that they can have generational wealth. She put it into a trust, and she took all of the insight and information that she got from my seminar and was able to do this work. And not only her, but so many other people have taken this seminar. And if they haven't, like some people already had land and didn't know what to do with the land. And now they're cash flowing and they're figuring out ways to turn their land into profitable ventures. So my seminar did that. And my coaching program, I don't just coach around land. I coach around real estate investments. So whether you're interested in buying land through tax deeds, or if you want to buy land anywhere, because I'm big on right now telling people they need to buy land and buy properties in Detroit because they're dumb cheap and it's just a good investment. And there are other places, right? There's places all over the country that if you have the right information, you don't have to be someone who never takes the leap and actually invest your money. It's a lot of us who feel like because we don't have the information, it would be too risky to invest in real estate, but it's too risky to keep your money sitting in a 401k or in your savings account. It's just much better for you to hire the people that you need to walk you through the process so that you can put your money in a place that's going to appreciate over time. And then forget just your money. We have to understand how to leverage our credit. Like if we have a 700 credit score, man, we can completely change our entire wealth trajectory, right? Like you can take that credit score and a little bit of money instead of a lot of money, and you can make a big difference in buying land, getting real estate deals. So I teach all of those things. I give people the resources they need to feel confident that they can go out here and do this work too.
So where can the people find your course at that might want to get your course?
The only way to get my course is to hit me up. You have to DM me, or you have to visit me on ashleyscottinspires.com, or you can set up a coaching call with me. And so can y'all put it in the chat? Let me put it in the chat. I'm gonna drop my calendar link because in real life, I told y'all that my seminar was way too raw. So I need to see who buying my seminar before I sell it. So
no, it's all good. Sometimes the rawness is the realness.
It is real.
Right.
And I need to keep my license. So if you want,
there we go. No, I can appreciate
that's
that.
my calendar link. Get on my calendar. And then if you have a phone call with me, and if you all right with me, I'm gonna send you what you need. Cause like I give you what you need. Like I don't like to beat around the bush. I ain't trying to, I want you to be successful. And a lot of times in this world that we live in, people are, not genuine in their heart. And like I don't even like charging is something that I'm learning to do, because I just always just give away just gems and jewels for free. But it's even in an honor, like it's just good circulation, right? Like we got to have money circulating. Can't just give everything away for free. I deserve to receive too. But the reality is you have to get this information, and if you don't have it, my goodness, it's like you got to be real. You got to be real, because people will purposely lie to you. People will give you misinformation. People will be stingy with the game because it's just so much money and opportunity that people really have this scarcity mindset. Like if you get the game, then there's less of the game for me, or if you get a piece of the pie, it's less pie for me. I don't believe that. I believe that once you make this investment in yourself and you get that investment of knowledge, there's more than enough for you, me, and anybody else who wants it, because all it does is that much gathers more. When one of us is out here getting to the land, building it up, creating affordable housing, creating jobs, just reconfiguring some raw land into something new and amazing for our people. I need everybody to be doing that. I don't got no qualms with you getting the information that you need to succeed, because we all need you to succeed so that we all can succeed together.
So we were actually talking about that earlier, having a team and, not hoarding the information that because we do the after dark call, and, we try and encourage everybody to teach something. Don't just come in and, take the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
How likely would it have been if you would have tried to do this by yourself? How far do you think you would have gone?
Wouldn't have happened. Because listen, I'm a Christian woman. I'm a believer. And the Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered. You can't do nothing by yourself. When I try to do anything by myself, it takes a longer time. It costs more money because I got to come out my pocket all by myself. It doesn't make sense. It's not practical nor logical to go at anything in life by yourself. If you go 2 together, we can go further, because if I stumble, you can pick me up. You can hold me up. You can make sure I don't fall. If there's something that I don't know and I got a partner, they might know it. And if they don't know it, if there's 2 of us, it's going to be easier for us to figure it out. There is benefits to cooperation and collectivity or collectives. And so for me, I know we would not have gotten this far this fast if it was not 19 of us on one accord making this happen. Like having that many people in agreement at one time, the amount of speed that we were able to get anything done was because of that. If it was just me, I've been trying to do stuff just for me for 35 years. It didn't work.
No, that's good to know.
I partnered up that it did.
That's good to know, because we recently partnered up and started a business, CRC Empire, and we got it done so quick. Like we thought maybe February it would be done, March. this was a New Year's thing we was coming up with, and the LLC is already done. Everything's already done. We already started places where we can start making money together. But it's funny you said that, because I just want to suggest a book to people, that it's a book, Who Not How, right? Quit thinking of how I can get it done, but who I can get to help me, right? And the book is by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. So that's pretty good to know that you built that team, and then that's what made it run, because that's what we've been preaching, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I again, like, we're doing a lot of talking about the business side of it. How? Please explain to this, being a full-time wife, a full-time businesswoman, and more importantly, a full-time mother. How do you balance it all? How? Just explain a day in the
It's
life
not
of Ashley.
that's an illusion. There's no balance. I thought, like, you see me go on the mic mute when I had to tell them little kids to get up out of here. Like, there is no balance. You do it. The balance is being able to go with the flow. That's the balance. When you live in flow, I have these sayings that all is well, life is good, everything is happening as it should. Like, look, yes, what's up?
Just in time, right
Just
on cue,
in
huh?
time, right?
Perfect time. Like, yo, moms, I'm outside. Look at me. I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I
I
feel
like
you can't
that.
have
You got to go with the flow, right?
after I finish my podcast, and you can have cake and ice cream. So go out of my room, be quiet, and then you can have cake and ice cream after I finish my podcast if you cooperate. Okay? Thank you. Close my door.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. That's what I'm talking about. That's perfect
So
timing.
yeah, close my door, kids. Thank you. Thank you. And so yeah, just you got to go with the flow, and you have to have grace for yourself, grace for others, because nobody on this journey is perfect. We're all trying to figure it out. We're in the middle of a whole pandemic. I have a good husband who supports me as much as he can, but everybody falls short according to nobody's perfect. But at the end of the day, it's like prioritizing. And the thing that I prioritize most is my mental health, making sure that I'm spending time with God, making sure that I'm spending time reading books that fill me up, making sure that I listen to music that makes me dance and feel happy, making sure that I look in the mirror and I say my affirmations every day, that I am loved, that I am a millionaire, that all things are working together for my good. Like, having a strong mental health routine helps me to stay on point, because I don't get everything done. I use to-do lists, and usually nothing on the to-do list gets done at all. It might be one thing on the to-do list that actually makes it done. But you just got to know that things are going, according to divine timing. And if it ain't the time for it, it'll be when it is the time for it. Like, I try not to beat myself up, because this world will make you feel like you have to be doing something 100 minutes every day, all the time. Like, there is really a need for the nap ministry. Okay. Like, take a nap, slow down, rejuvenate, like, do what you got to do to feel good on the inside first, because none of this other stuff outwardly matters. Inwardly is what counts. And so I spend a lot of time on my inward man and my mental health, making sure that I don't judge myself or criticize myself too harshly. And that's something hard to do. I'm a Virgo. Like, I'm constantly criticizing myself. And so it's a thing you got to work on, right? And you got to be willing to do the work. And so I'm really just trying to please my heavenly Father, and knowing that, God resides in me. That means that I got to please myself at the end of the day. Come on now. That's how I kind of balance it all, is by prioritizing my mental health, my self-care, my spiritual practices, because that's what carries me through when it gets hectic.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Great one. Kurt?
Hey, I'm kind of it. Ashley, before we close out, do you have any closing words you want to leave everybody with?
Yeah, listen, it's 2022, and I want you guys to show up and shine. Okay, like, I need for everybody who's got anything on the inside of them to get it out of them without excuses. Like the whole universe has gone through a shift. If you don't feel it, I don't know how you missed it. Get on board. Like this is a new season. You know how everybody forever been saying it's the age of Aquarius. Like it is here. It is now. We have shifted. So while it is uncomfortable, while it is exciting, the main part is to put that gift that's in you out into the world for the world to see. Stop burying your talents. I think that so many of us, especially as Black folk, right? We get so much pressure, so many things that make us feel like we can't win. But that story is over. Like, just look around, watch Earn Your Leisure. If you don't have nothing else to do to show you that there are models and people, a replicable success that you can have it. There's nothing that you need that you don't have access to in 2022. Like, just reach up and command it. Like, your words are power. Speak to the earth, speak to the dirt. Like, literally, you are in command of your life, and there is nothing stopping you from having what you say. Just do the work. Okay, so that's all I got.
And how can they find you on social media?
They can find me at Ashley Scott KW. You can hit me up on Facebook, Instagram. I'm usually on Instagram. I don't do TikTok like that, so don't even try me on TikTok. But Instagram me, Ashley Scott KW. That's really the best way to get at me these days. Or email. I am always on my email. So if you email me, ashleyscott@kw.com. Or that link that I shared in the chat. If you could share that link to my calendar, get on my calendar and you can chat with me. You can buy me coffee for $5 and we can sit on the phone and we can kiki and you can tell me all your dreams and I can tell you how to make it happen. Because I promise you, everybody who does a call with me gets $1 million idea and the execution plan. Like, that's just who I am. You can't get off the phone with me and not go make some money when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mr. Trash Vegan, Caliph Johnson Sr., you have any closing words for the people?
I don't want to skip the line, you know what I mean? But I definitely will. I really, really, really thank you for this one, because this is something that our community so needs. We need to get this message out. We need to let our people know that we have inspiring young queens like yourself out there doing the work, putting it in daily, and up with a positive attitude, giving out nothing but positive energy. We need to replicate Ashley Scott 10 times over, and then she needs to replicate them 10 times over, so we can get this to our people. This is something that I was super excited for. This is one of those interviews that I really wanted to get right. Like, we really wanted to get this message out there. If we don't get anything else out to our audience and the people that follow us and watch us, we need to get this message out. What you're doing is for our people. And I thank you so much for coming on and blessing us with your time and your interview. And yeah, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. Right. Oh, I forgot. They're going to kill me. Y'all, we have a GoFundMe. Check out freedomgeorgia.com. If you are a part of, so if you're interested, you're like, yo, she been talking about this Freedom Georgia. I'm interested in that. You guys visit Freedom Georgia, spell it out, Freedom Georgia, GEORGIA.com. And visit us. Go to the GoFundMe. If you got $25, $100, $1,000, put something to the pot to help turn this into fruition with us, because everything counts. I feel like when you put a seed in the ground, this is good ground, right? So please, please, please consider giving to our cause on GoFundMe. And you can get to it by visiting our website, freedomgeorgia.com.
And we'll make sure we put all that information in the show notes so everybody will have it.
You'll definitely put it in the description.
All right, Miss Rhonda L. Brown, Rhonda Rights Official, you have any closing words for us?
I do. I want to thank Ashley for coming. And I also, like, look, I know you said your course is raw, or but do you plan on making another one, a blueprint, so we can do this all over?
Yes, so I actually had planned on revamping my course over the month of December, but like I said, I was doing too much in December because I wanted to release it. So give me some time, but the course is still available. Like I said, just hit me up. If you want the course, you can have it. You just got to DM me or email me, ashleyscott@kw.com, and I will send you the link directly to make your purchase. It's $199. You're going to get 4 seminars and an ebook. And you're going to be able to get access to me if you have more questions by emailing me. And I'm making a community. I have a community. I haven't been doing enough with the community, but I'm getting ready to revamp that. So give me some time. Like I said, I'm out here trying to mogul and mommy, and it's a lot. So I promise you, it's in the works. If somebody got a good VA, I need somebody who can help me with this stuff.
We can connect you somebody. Yeah, we definitely
know somebody for that. We got somebody. My last question. I got one last question. Ashley, you said you had an ebook. Do you have a book out?
I'm writing a book. So I spent December. I was doing a lot in December. I told y'all. I have a book that I'm writing. I have 2 books that I'm writing. One is called The Power of Pronoia, because pronoia is the idea that the entire universe is conspiring for you and your success. And because of that, that's my primary belief. That is the power that has allowed me to manifest the vision that we have and what's coming forth, right? And then my other book is Show Up and Shine, because I really genuinely believe like it don't take all of that. Like a lot of times we be really in our heads about all the stuff that we need to be doing and how it's got to be perfect and it needs to look like this or be like that. And it don't need none of that. All you have to do is show up with what it is you have, how it is today, and you can reiterate, you can revamp it, you can fix it, you can make it better. But if you just show up and give what you have to give, I promise the people will value it. They will love you for it. You'll build your tribe. You'll be able to win and eat when you just show up and shine. And I want to put that out there for the world to see, because just showing up, being in certain rooms, you know what I mean? Even when I felt like I wasn't prepared to be in those rooms, having the audacity to be in those rooms anyway, open doors. So like showing up is just the first step. And sometimes it's all it takes. Like God will honor your audacity to just show up. And so that's what my book is about. And so I'm writing it now. I was doing good, Rhonda. I was doing 25 words a day. And I did it for 6 days.
You got to get back into it.
So I got to get back into it. But it's coming. It's coming. And as long as you keep asking me for it, I'm going to keep getting on it so that I can get it done.
There we go. The butterfly bully as well.
The bully is in the building.
Hey, you guys. So my name is Curtis G. Martin. And again, too, I want to